Most dentists think it takes time to see progress in their practice. It doesn't. It takes clarity. When your vision, your leadership, and your systems align, time collapses for you. In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly how to live 5 years worth of practice growth in one. I'm so excited for this conversation because it's one that I haven't really shared publicly, but it's the power of mentorship and coaching. Let's jump in. Living 5 years in one is very possible, not by working harder, but by working with strategy, not by working harder, but working aligned with your vision, your systems, and your leadership. Not by working harder, but working more effectively. The act of multiplication doesn't happen just with motion. It happens when you involve meaning. And you'll start to see your practice, your people, and your profitability multiply like never before and like you never thought was possible. Whenever I try to break down a really big concept, I like to give you a reference point. That reference point is purpose. Everyone's purpose is inside of them. Think about it. Everything that has been made was made to be successful. Let's take a seed, for example. A seed, if planted, if watered, if it has sunlight, is going to grow into a tree, a beautiful tree. And that tree is going to be a forest. So in all actuality, every seed has the capability of becoming a forest. It's the same with you, same with your people. If you look inside for meaning, for strategy, for vision, and pull it out and place it in the right environment, you will be successful. I once heard that the most expensive, most valuable place on earth is a cemetery, because those people may have died with books, songs, visions, missions, ideas inside of them. Have you thought about that? Have you thought about your practice and looked at it for what it really can be and not just what it is? What's still inside of you that you haven't been able to bring out? I'm here to tell you that coaching and mentorship is the quickest way to be able to effectively move faster and be able to do things quicker than you ever thought possible. I want to share a secret with you, and that is coaching and mentorship is the quickest way to be able to effectively reach your destination as soon as possible. I want to make sure you understand, I'm not just talking here. I have lived this. When I first got into dentistry, I started out as a dental assistant, and somebody saw something in me and decided to take a risk on me. That one seed turned into leadership. It turned into organizational opportunities. It turned into me being a training developer. And most importantly, it turned into me wanting to do the same thing for other people. So the question lies, are you maximizing your seed? Are you maximizing your potential? Are you so close to it that you can't see for what it is? Or are you just avoiding growth by saying, oh, someday? Well, let's turn someday into day one. Maybe you have a dream, but no direction. You're surrounded by opportunity, but don't have the understanding, knowledge, or wisdom to even understand what it could be. If you've learned clinical skills, but no business skills and no leadership skills, you're doing yourself a disservice and your team and your patients a disservice, because business and leadership and success in dentistry go hand in hand. With the help of coaches, mentorship, you can turn your clinical skills into business knowledge, into leadership knowledge, into wisdom, and into understanding your patient. It's so very important to understand your patients, not just clinically, but emotionally. It's also very important to understand how your team communicates, how you communicate, how your patients want to be communicated to. If these are things that you haven't thought of as a dentist, you are not alone. But now's the time to effectively change that. Once you have the understanding of a business and what your patient desires and what your team needs as a leader, that understanding changes the game. If you want to live 5 years in one, you have to learn and have to master how to multiply your impact. And first is to know your strengths, your weaknesses, your threats, and your opportunities. There's a famous guy that I love to hear speak. His name is Michael Johnson, the billionaire, and he swats himself and his companies once a quarter. I recommend the same thing to everyone I work with. If you also want to live 5 years in one, you have to understand to think differently. You can't do the same thing that got you here. Although you are probably living your past self's future's dreams. I want you to take a moment and think about when you were in dental school and how you just thought you were killing the game. You were ahead of people that you probably knew in life, and you felt like, I have made it. I have entered dental school. Now you got your dental license, but you've also got dental loans. And it's time to really be serious about your business and your leadership skills, because that's what's going to take you to the next level. Not a hope and not a dream. Unfortunately, time does not award effort. It awards strategy. You could spend 5 years building something out of place, or you could spend 1 year building with clarity and intent and strategy and watching everything fall into place. You know what? That's leadership. And that's what Phil Jackson mastered. He didn't just build players, he built thinkers. He created alignment so deep that players moved as one body, one rhythm, one mission. And when rhythm meets purpose, time bends. Dentistry is no different. If your team doesn't know your vision, they will work against it on accident. If your purpose isn't clear, your culture will default to confusion. If you coach your team in the wrong way, they will pick up bad habits that will last forever. And if you also don't get leadership coaching and mentorship, you will end up coaching and babysitting your team instead of turning them into leaders, simply because you don't know how to duplicate yourself. And here's the real truth. You cannot lead a team until you know how to lead yourself. Leadership starts when you stop asking, what can I get from my team? And instead ask, what do I need to be giving my team? Right? I like to really think about a team meeting as a professional development session. It should never be an event session. It should never be a housekeeping session. It should be, this is what my team needs, and this is what I'm going to provide them through coaching, mentorship, TED Talks, videos, resources, books, podcast ideas. Magic really happens when you stop chasing success and you start chasing significance. And one thing I wish all dentists knew is that your dental license is not the end of your purpose. It's your platform to be able to heal people, to be able to connect with people, and to be able to serve your community in such a special way. Do you remember our little seed? What would happen if that same seed that had the potential to turn into a forest was kept on the side of a tub? It wouldn't develop, it wouldn't grow, it would think that it was doomed, right? And all it needs is a different environment and a different growth path. In leadership, your growth will be stunted if you have a lack of leadership, mentorship, coaching, guidance, or strategy. When information, mentorship, reflection, and execution collide, that's where the magic lies. That's where acceleration can happen. And what could take someone 5 years to mess up, to stumble upon, could happen for you in one. That's the difference between movement and momentum. Movement is activity and momentum is alignment. I see so many dentists failing, not because of only burnout, but because they're constantly solving for the wrong objection. And they're trying to win at the wrong thing. They're searching for more patients, but are getting less peace. They're building bigger offices, but maintaining a small life. And it's not because they're bad people or bad dentists, but they've never stopped to say, why am I doing this? What is my why? What does my leadership consist of? How am I being perceived by my team? Does my team even like to come and work? Does my team like me? There's no self-reflection. And there's no one in the practice, not even the office manager, that's brave enough to tell the dentist that they're a terrible leader. The moment you get very clear on your vision and make it short enough to where your team can memorize it, say it, live it, breathe it every day, the moment that you can get really clear on your vision, your message, and your mission, you will start to live 5 years in one, because you will hire better, you will delegate better, you will start to even speak with less anxiety and more clarity. You will stop overworking yourself and you will start to overflow, because purpose makes work feel worth it. I love what I do every single day because I know that I'm serving people in my highest form. I'm having to continue to learn to be able to serve them, and that's enjoyment. If you're watching this as a dentist, as a dental assistant, as a hygienist, you have a seed too. Don't ever underestimate yourself just because of a title or a position. You do not need a position or a title to lead. Every single team member has a catalyst for change. And that's one thing dentists need to understand. Your team is your greatest support system, but you have to learn exactly what to do to turn their brains on. I never waited for a title. I always became the leader that my environment needed, the change that my environment needed. The route that I went was dictated on what was needed, not who gave me permission. And that's how a seed turns into a forest. It doesn't say, "Oh, excuse me, Mr. Bush, can I grow here?" It just grows and grows and grows. After watching this video, I'm going to give you some homework. The first thing I want you to do as a dentist is pull out your vision, rewrite it. Does it resonate still? Is it actually what you live, breathe, sleep, think? Is it actually what you want your team to do? Are you able to coach by saying, "This is our vision, this is who we are"? Are you able to retain team members when they're asking for more money, but you're able to say, "This is who I am, this is who I stand for, and culturally, you're gonna love it here," no matter how much somebody else may be paying you down the street? Rewrite your vision, rewrite your mission, dust them off, and place them somewhere where they're visible, either your break room, in your waiting room, in your lobby, somewhere where your patients and your team members will be able to see your vision and mission every single day. You don't need 5 years to get to your next goal. You need 1 solid year of clarity, of leadership, of mentorship or coaching, because they can see 5 years down the road and tell you exactly what you need to do now. And if you are a good listener, and if you are somebody that's like, no matter what I have to do, I want to make it to the next level, think about accelerating yourself and your team as soon as possible. 1 year of alignment between strategy, what you do, what you say, and what you believe will blow your mind. And if you do that, if you live with that type of purpose, that type of precision, you will look up 1 year from now and realize that you were able to grow 5 years worth in 1 year. And other people around you will notice as well. And when they ask you what you did, be sure to share the secret of mentorship and coaching. Started in dentistry. I was a dental assistant. I had no idea what I was doing. I had no idea what path I would take. But I do remember the first time I saw somebody who had been a former dental assistant and they were in a leadership position. Now, I really can't remember her name, but she was fly. She had cute nails, cute heels. And I remember thinking, wow, she was a dental assistant 10 years ago, and look at her now. Maybe one day I could do that. And of course, everything in Kimmy's world is accelerated. So it only took me about a year to be able to be an office manager. In that position, I learned a lot about myself, and I had experienced a lot of bad leaders, and I had promised myself, I'm not going to be one of those terrible leaders that people just hate. I want to be liked. But at the same time, I didn't realize leaders don't have to be liked. They want to be respected and they want to give respect, but they don't have to be liked. And so I had to work on that. I read a lot of leadership books. I'll put some down below in the description for you if you're a reader like I am. But I grew my leadership. I transformed, I grew, and I became a regional manager over 5 offices. And I thought, this is the pinnacle. I've made it. But I'm going to tell you something. There's always a next level. The next level for me happened to be able to become a training developer. And I started training teams. I started working with doctors. And I found my why, my purpose, what makes me breathe easy, what gives me a laugh that's deep in my belly, what makes me smile so hard that my cheeks hurt. I found it. And I'm so thankful for that. But I didn't find it alone. It took several people along the way to say, hey, I see something in you, and I'm going to tell you how to get to where you need to be quicker. Two of those people that I can think of right now have been the greatest gifts in my professional career. And they were mentors and they were coaches and still are in my life. I have a standing monthly call with each of them, and they guide me when I'm emotional. They help me to make critical decisions. They effectively help me strategize to be able to reach places that people take 10, 15 years to get to in 1 or 2 years tops. This video is all about that. I want you to be able to achieve those same goals. I want you to be able to develop your leadership. And I want you to be the best dentist that your community and your team deserve. I want you to be the best leader that your community, your team deserves. But most importantly, I want you to live a fulfilled life. I want at the end of your journey for it to be like a glass of water. I want you to be all poured out. The most valuable, most luxurious, the most expensive place on earth is a cemetery. I don't want that for you. This video is designed to make sure that doesn't happen to you. When your leadership, purpose, and vision align, what used to take 5 years could happen in 1.